Aja, 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 aja. Lekki Marwa Chisco Jack on the Aja on that bridge, Aja on that bridge. Selem Aitu Oshodi, okay. Selem Aitu Oshodi. Yanawaru Oshodi, Oshodi, Oshodi. Yanawaru Oshodi, Oshodi, Oshodi. You might be wondering what's happening. Wow. Different places being called. Another one that fascinates me is Yanoba Vokes, Yanoba Vokes. On that bridge, Yanoba Vokes. Yanoba Vokes, Yanoba Vokes, Agbara, Yanoba Vokes, Yanoba Vokes. Wow. These people that call these are lifesavers. That brings us to the topic of the day. Today we are going to look at a particular poem, another poem, and it's called Conductor by Oben. Wow. Before I go further, this used to be the color of Lagos State. But now the color of this slide is something else. And the color of the buses for Lagos State is actually blue and white. You can see I took this on Saturday, the very day I started this. All right. All should have their pride of job. That is, no matter what you do, you'd have this pride that you're working. And today we are talking about the conductors. So conductors should also have their pride of job. And lots of jobs will cause a sub. If those people lose their jobs, Lagos, so many other places will not contain us because people would actually sub. Bus boy rather than to rob. Yes, he could be a bus boy, but it's far better, much as in way better than to rob, than to join the riot mob. Sometimes he causes worry. These conductors, of course, they cause worry, but we are going to continue to look at it. And he will not say sorry. Hello, when a conductor does something to you, please forget about it. He's not gonna apologize. Well, maybe a few may. We never can tell. Fighting on account of change. That's where I come in. People who could bring him change. You see this thing they do in Lagos State, where two people bought a vehicle and they are asking, conductor, my change now. And this other one is dragging, conductor, my change, oh, don't let me forget my change. And conductor will just quietly ask, I bet when they come down. And if both of you should just say, oh, I'm a lighting a chevron. He's not going to say anything. If he's owing you 100 and you 100 naira, when both of you are light, he will just marry you together and he will just give both of you 200 to go and share, sort yourself out. Fighting on account of change. A conductor, because of change, could actually rip someone going to the office. But then he's fighting those who could actually bring him change. Bring him change in the sense of better opportunities. Some tender like yam tendrils, they prefer to toil than to school. I don't know if it's as a result of when they are seeing this plenty money, you can see them holding almost like a bundle of cash. Some of them, they just prefer to toil than to go to school. Parents, now this is an appeal from Oben. Parents, please pay their school fees and buy them the needed tools. I know if people actually put these children to school and bought them needed things like exercise books, school bags, shoes and all that, and maybe gadgets to learn, improve learning, I think they'll do better. Know this truth, O conductor. Now, Oben is talking to the conductors directly. Nuisance men do board your bus. Of course, I'm going to agree with that. Sometimes you hear conductors saying, hold your change, oh, no change, oh. And probably the bus fare is about 200 naira. You see someone taking the choicest part of the vehicle, sits gallantly, elegantly, sits pretty, and brings that 1,000 naira to give for the conductor to give him a change, or his or her change of 800 naira. And he's been arguing, he's been screaming it, hold your change, hold your change. Nuisance men will board your bus, conductors. They will scream to cause you pain. Like them, please don't be insane. Oben is acknowledging that some people are actually insane. This is a testament of many are mad and few are roaming. People will board the vehicle, but don't be like them. There is life besides shouting. Work hard to stop conducting. Learn skills taught in book pages. The future promises fat wages. What these conductors do not know is that you can actually earn more if you're not shouting. That means the fact that you're shouting doesn't mean that's when you're actually going to cash out the millions. You can actually work hard to stop conducting. Even if you don't go to school, you could learn skills. Learn skills. There are different skills. Skills like baking, sewing, different skills. And these skills are actually making money. The future really, really does promise fat wages. So let's look at the analysis. This poem is from a Nigerian context that describes interactions and experiences between conductors and road commuters in Lagos transport buses like Danfo bus. Anytime you see the yellow and black, of course, you just know that this is Lagos. I think this blue and this is just like a mirage or something, but we all need it to be yellow and black. The poem is a piece of moral exhortation wrapped in everyday Nigerian street life. It celebrates honest hustle while strongly pushing for education and upward mobility. It condemns aggression. Now, these are daily experiences. For everyone who's boarded a bus, you just realize that sometimes if you're not angry by what the conductor says, you're angry by the passengers. Either the vehicle is so stuffed and all that, and you're asking yourself where next and all that. And conductors sometimes, because they might be impatient or because they've been insulted, could transfer the aggression on you, the passenger that knows nothing, next to nothing about it. So it's actually the experiences of day-to-day between road commuters and conductors. The poem consists of 5 stanzas and 20 lines. Now let's look at the themes. We go on to the themes. Number 1 theme, dignity and pride in honest work. Please do not look down. My dear girls, my people, please do not look down on dignity, and there's pride in honest work. The fact that they are shouting, oh, should you, okay, you can see my voice, you can hear me, it's a little bit coarse and all that. It's an honest work. There's dignity in labor. Whether they are packing dirt, they are packing beans and all that, it's an honest work. They are calling out passengers, they are calling for passengers, it's an honest work. There's dignity. Better a bus boy than to rob. Number 2 thing, we have the value of education and skill acquisition over menial or limited labor. The world is digital. I think it's just in some parts of probably Africa that you can see this. Oh, should you, can people calling for this? The world has gone digital a very long time ago. When you board buses, you board coaches, you go to trains, you already have your ticket, and you actually board without you hearing the shouts and all that. So there's value of education, skill acquisition. What if, just like the BRT buses we have in Nigeria, what if everything is now digitalized? Where does that leave the conductors and these motorboys in? So it's an urge that they should value education over menial or limited labor. Of course, AI is taking over everything. Very soon, with this coastal road, with so many things happening, probably we'll just be like railway, and everyone is just going to go digital. You buy, pay, have your coins and all that, and you pay digitally. So when you're just getting into the vehicle, you might have reduced shout of oh should you okay and all that. Okay, so it encourages you to pursue education and vocational skills. Now, number 3 theme is critique of aggressive or troublesome behavior in public roads. Now, the conductor is depicted or is seen as sometimes quarrelsome, that is fighting on account of change, fighting on account of so many things, with the loud, the agber and all that, with different passengers. There's a critique of this aggressive behavior. Little wonder when educated people exhibit such behavior, they ask questions like, are you sure that you're educated? You don't behave like someone who is educated. So this is a critique of aggressive behavior. And sometimes educated people are also critiqued because such behaviors, later you see people doing damage control, apologizing. Such behavior shouldn't be seen among educated fellas. So this poem warns against becoming insane like troublesome passengers. We have personal responsibility, self-improvement, and hope for a better future. Well, this tone is advisory and it's motivational. So personal responsibility, you just have know it that you just have to improve yourself, self-improvement. You are responsible for yourself. So you tell yourself, no matter what, even if the country has kept me this way or there are no opportunities, you just have to improve yourself. Do not wait for anyone. Just improve yourself for a better future. Guess what? You don't want to, it's like a recycled thing. You don't want us to have cycle of let it be a cycle of poverty. You can actually break through. So personal responsibility, just be responsible. So it's a thing of encouragement to endure honest work. The fact that you're a conductor today doesn't mean that you'll be a conductor forever. That's just it. Then we have social commentary on urban youth, poverty, and public transport culture. When I taught this in class, I asked questions. Guess what? So many people have traveled out. That's a very good experience. And one thing I realized in traveling is part of education. It's not about being bougie. It's not about being a nepo baby and all that. Please, it's good to travel as close as Ghana is, as close as Benin Republic is. You can even go to European countries. I'm going to share my experience. When you travel, you just realize that the transport system and culture is quite different from what we have in Nigeria. When you have coaches, when you get into coaches are very long vehicles, buses that are like BRT buses. They are always air conditioned. Everyone is seated, not like some BRT buses where people are seated and some people are actually standing. It doesn't really depict well of the country. Secondly, it is air conditioned. It is always neat. One girl gave her experience. She said, oh, she feels very safe when she's in the coach outside Nigeria, or like Nigeria here, where we had a case of someone who was actually killed and all that in the BRT. So we have social commentary on urban youth poverty and public transport culture. So we appeal to the government that they can actually do better. Our transport culture should be modernized. It should look like we should emulate that what we see when we travel outside, because there are some coaches when you travel in, you just realize that people actually sit on top. So you're seen everywhere. The air is good. There are no fightings. This one, sometimes people fight in vehicles. I don't know. People stand, even in the BRT, people stand, and you're asking yourself, is this really worth emulating? So it's a reflection of our transport culture. People are either hanging, conductor is hanging, and the passenger says, I don't want you to be beside me. I've already paid my fare, so you should not inconvenience me. So these are our transport culture that should be looked into. I think conductors should actually have a seat. They should sit, and not it being because they're seeing last man and all that. They should sit, have a seat, enjoy the ride. You don't have to, I don't know, the seat will not make you lose money. Enjoy the ride. You also have right to life. Enjoy that ride. So we are looking at literary devices. Number one literary device is simile. Simile is the use of as and like to compare two unlikely things. So we have some tender like yam tendrils, comparing vulnerable or useful people, likely children or young workers, to delicate yam tendrils. You can see someone hanging on the vehicle. It's not really cool, because what happens if they get into a bump or there is a sudden crash and all that? What happens to the person hanging? Another literary device is metaphor. We have one nuisance man. That's metaphorical statement. We have contrast or antithesis. So the poem juxtaposes negative and positive parts to highlight choices. We have honest work versus crime. This is depicted in boss boy rather than to rob. We have manual toil versus education. Education makes us smarter. Education should make us smarter, and not just to work hard. No, you should make us smarter in the sense that there are some things you don't really need to work hard manually to achieve its purpose. So they prefer to toil than to school. How are they to know that you can actually do you can work remotely, you can do one or two things like we are doing now? I'm teaching you, you're watching this video from any part of the world, and you're on my YouTube channel. So this is toil versus education. Education opens your mind to new pathways and all that. Then we have current shouting job versus skilled future. So this time around, there's life besides shouting. You don't really have to shout and shout to make money. You can look at our content creators. You don't have to shout. There are so many ways of making money. We have apostrophe. Apostrophe is when the poem is being spoken as if it was addressing someone. The speaker speaks straight to the conductor and indirectly to parents and youth, making the poem feel personal and urgent, like advice from an elder, like a sage or a mentor. We have irony, fighting on account of change. This is interesting. So people who could bring him change. So the conductor, it's quite ironical. You're fighting the passengers who could actually bring change to you. So there's a clever pun on change. Small coins, fair versus personal societal improvement. The conductor fights over petty money while missing out on real change through education and better opportunities. How is it to know that if he has better opportunities, he doesn't need to shout and he doesn't need to actually drag someone's cloth or anything just for change? Alliteration. This is the use of the repetition of initial consonant sounds. So we have pride of job, the p alliterates, okay? Lots of jobs, sub s alliterates as in soft lamin, loss, jobs, okay? Alliteration. Then we have rhyme. The poem actually rhymes. There are so many things that rhymes. Okay, mostly uses AABB couplets or near couplets, creating a song-like rhythmic quality. So let's look at what rhymes here in the poem. We have a lot. So we have job and sub. We have rob and mob. We have worry and sorry. We have change. Yeah, fair change and change. We have tendrils, schools, bills, and tools. We have conductor, bus. We have pain, we have insane. So pain, insane, the A sound, conductor, bus, shouting, conducting, pages, wages. Okay? The diction, well, the language is quite easy to understand and it contrasts to drive home the point. The mood of this poem, I totally agree, is that of encouragement. You don't just have to be that. Okay. So we come to the end of this session the end of this class. Thank you for your attention. If you got any questions, you can drop that in the comment section. Thank you very much and see you in the next class. And next time you hear, Oshodi, okay, just give kudos to the conductor. Bye-bye.